Hey there, Tiff here. Too much pressure from within, and you are actually dreading playing. You are so worried that you're going to play poorly that you don't even want to go out and play. Does that sound familiar? You're dreading playing your sport because you're just feeling the pressure. Well, don't go anywhere. I'll be with you very shortly, and we're going to tackle what you can do to counteract that. See you soon. Hey there, Tiff here. Welcome to Ambition Habits. So lovely to have you here. Oh, pressure. There's a lot of pressure, isn't there? There's a lot of pressure we put on ourselves in sport. There's a lot of pressure we put on ourselves in life. There's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves in work. Anything that we do, we put ourselves under a lot of pressure. And I find that, like with sport, especially, we want to play well, we want to perform well, and we put so much pressure and expectation on ourselves every time we step out on the arena that we expect that we should be able to play well, that sometimes we just don't. And I know that, with some people, like, they want to play competition, but at the same time they dread it because they feel like they're going to be a disaster, right? Because of previous experiences, right? So history's said to them in, previous games that they've played, or previous sport that they played, that they weren't good enough, or they haven't played sport before and they've just taken up a sport and they don't think that they're going to be good enough. So they're already dreading that they're going to have to get out there and play, and they're worried about being embarrassed, worrying about looking like a fool. Um, and they haven't even got out there yet. Like, they feel like they're gonna be a disaster, and they haven't got there yet. Remember, it's a sport, right? It's not life or death. Really, it's not. I mean, I love sport. I've lived my life in the sports arena, and I will do that until the day I die. I absolutely love it. From the moment that I could walk and talk, I believe, I was running around with a tennis ball and a racket. So it's part of my DNA, sport, but it's a sport, right? And yeah, we're going to feel like we're going to dread playing competition because we don't feel confident within ourselves. Yeah, we might feel embarrassed because we don't feel like we're going to be living up to what we think that we should be able to play like. But if we have all these worries and these fears and these doubts and this lack of self-confidence all the time, and we're worried we're going to embarrass ourselves, we're worrying about we're going to let other people down, all of this self-talk, right? All of these thoughts that go on is like off the court anyway, isn't it? Like, you haven't even stepped into your sports arena yet, and you're already setting yourself up for disaster because all you're doing is worrying about everything. And so, if you want to play better, you may have heard a few previous episodes on what I said about, look, get your skills in place. So important to do that so you can build that consistency, so that you can build confidence. So that's a really important thing that you need to do. But what else could you do? I've got some more things for you to do here. So the thing that we want to do here is, like, let's combat this thing that you're feeling of dread. Let's combat this thing that you're feeling like you're going to embarrass yourself. Let's combat this thing that you feel like that you're just not good enough. Let's combat this thing that you're worrying about how you're going to play, right? Let's combat this frustration. Let's do something about it. So here's a really good thing that you can do here, and here's a strategy for you. So we could develop some mental triggers for you. And what really mental triggers are is that they can be like physical cues, they could be verbal cues that you could focus on when you're playing. So it really doesn't really matter, like, what it is, whether it's a physical thing. You might tap yourself on the wrist or the elbow, or on the chest, or something that might be a physical cue to help you get reset. You might have a verbal cue in the sense of something that you'd say to yourself, like, let's go, or something like that. There's no wrong here. We just need to figure out what's going to work best for you. So it's whether you focus on a physical cue, focus on a mental cue, a verbal cue rather, then either one's fine or both are fine, right? There's no wrong. It's just we need to help you reset and find a way to help you get prepared for playing your particular skill in your sport, right? So we're getting you like creating this sense of readiness for you. Now, the other thing about creating like a physical cue or a verbal cue is it's really powerful. It's a really small thing that you can do, but it's quite a powerful thing. So I'll give you an example. So I take a lot of people away on golf tours, a lot of women away on golf tours, and I find that they get very worked up. This same sort of stuff, right? They're worrying about how they're going to play. They tell me how poorly they're going to play. They're worried that they're not going to be good enough. They're worried about what I'm going to think of them when they're out there. They're worried about the people that they're playing with. They're worried about, letting them down or holding them back. And, they're worried about how they're going to play when they go home. There's all of this talk that goes on. Now, some women that I've worked with, they get quite flustered and so on. So, a simple like physical cue that I've suggested in the past is like when they set up to the ball, just take a breath before they go to swing, right? Because they get into such a state of panic, they just get up quickly, try and get rid of the ball and get it over and done with, rather than enjoying the moment and setting themselves up for success, like creating this like physical cue that they could set themselves up to do so that they feel like they've got a bit more control. Great thing about breathing is it helps you slow down anyway. And what it does is helps them stop and then helps them reset. So let's look at another thing that we could do. So let's say, and I'll talk about golf because it's just top of mind for me. Another one that you could do is like if you're going to set up to the ball, when you set up to the ball, go through a little process. Like you set up to the ball, put your feet together, then put your feet apart, and then you set to go, right? That's another little physical cue that you could focus on. And it helps you just reset, right? It helps you prepare. It helps you give that sense of readiness that you're about to perform the shot. Just like I was talking about, like with the breathing, that I get people to do as well. Now, if you're thinking, let's talk about a tennis serve. So if you walk up to the baseline and you're getting ready to serve the ball, might be the amount of bounces that you do with the ball, to get yourself into that set state of readiness, like that you're actually going to perform the skill, right? It just settles you. It could be 3 bounces, could be, I know some of the pros, they do like 10, 11 bounces and so on for the same reason, right? So if you're then getting yourself and triggering yourself into a state of readiness, because now you're slowing down or you're taking a breath or you're getting your feet set or you're doing a bounce with the ball, it's telling yourself that now you're prepared to play the shot rather than worrying about what's going to happen, right? Now you're focused on executing the skill. Now, there's other things too you could think of in the sense of, I know like when I was learning to play golf, because I really had a big problem with learning to trust myself because I had a lot of tennis demons that were coming up when I was learning to play golf. So I came up with this strategy of a cue phrase that I could say to myself before I actually played the shot. So I'd go through my process and set up to the ball and everything. And then before I actually then played the shot, I'd say, trust your swing, because there was a huge lack of trust there. There was a huge lack of even confidence in the skill. Now, I worked a lot on the skill, but I still didn't trust it. And one day I said to myself, if I actually learned to trust this and just looked at it as feedback and see what happens, I'd probably play it better. And I thought, okay, let's just do it. Let's trust your swing. And that's how that came about. So again, you got to find something that's going to work for you. And like I said, it could be a physical thing. It could be and also a verbal thing that you say to yourself. But we don't want you to be looking at anything from a negative point of view. It's something that's going to help you get set and prepare to play your shot. Now, I've got 4 action steps for you for this one. right? So the first thing that we want to do, number one, is I actually want you to pick a physical movement that's going to be part of your focus in your preparation to perform your skill. So, like I said to you before, like, I've told people that I coach just to take a breath. It could be your footwork, getting your feet in a particular position. Doesn't matter. You just find something that's going to help you, that you need to repeat repeatedly, right, over and over again, that you can then know that that's going to help you get set and get you triggered, get you ready to perform your shot. Number two is to create a saying, right? I find like you don't want any more than 3 words. 1 to 3 words is probably plenty. Because you don't want too much information in your head either, right? So you've got your physical trigger, like you're going to get set and do something physically that's going to help you prepare. Then the second thing you're going to do is actually come up with something to say. So, like I said to you, mine was trust your swing. I use that in everything. Any sport that I play these days is trust your swing, because it's really about trusting. And the other thing that I also do through, and it's part of my pre-shot routine, but there's a lot of breath work that I do leading up to playing a shot, and also how I breathe when I actually perform the shot. And I'll go in that in more detail later on in another episode. But I just want you to be thinking that you could have a breath, and then could be your physical thing, and then you're setting yourself up to then say something to yourself. So, like, trust your swing is what, like I said, is one thing that I say. You could say nice and easy. You could say just feel it. Something that you can really connect with, but also something that's not going to make you feel too emotional about either. So you don't want it to come on, you can do it, or um, yeah, something around that. I'd prefer you to say something that's quite neutral, but something that's around a feeling, or a trust, or something like that, that you can rely on, and then you're just focusing more on the process. Okay. Now, the third thing that you want to do from that is you want to practice it. So I want you to, once you've figured out like the physical cue that you're going to add in, and then you figured out the verbal cue that you're going to add in, go and practice it. So go to wherever your practice area is and go through the process and practice it. And you want to practice it so that you can feel comfortable with it. Then the fourth thing that you do, you're going to have to implement it out on your sporting arena when you're in the form of competition. Even if you go out and practice, and you play a practice game of some description, practice it then too, right? So that you can test it out, see how it goes, so that you can then implement it when it comes to a tournament or it comes to a competition. So it helps just keep you nice and calm. So what are we going to do here? We're going to focus and develop some mental triggers, and they're really mental and physical triggers. So number one is you're going to pick a physical trigger or physical movement that's going to help you focus in your preparation to perform your skill. Second thing you're going to do is you're going to create a saying prior to you performing the skill. Trust your swing's a good one. Trust yourself. Nice and easy. Just feel it. Third thing you're going to do is you're going to go and practice it. Right? So you're going to go and work on that and practice and implement it so that you feel comfortable with it. And then the fourth thing you're going to do is you're going to go and implement it in your competition, test it out and see how you go. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Love it if you could share with me what you like best about what you heard today. I'd really appreciate that. So it's all about really building that trust, isn't it? And helping you get really settled in your sport so that you're not worrying and you're not feeling the pressure. You've got other things to focus on. Now, before you go, if you want to build more consistency and confidence in your game, come and get your 3 steps to building self-confidence with the Has Confidence formula at my website, tiffany-mica.com. You can harness your strengths and build resilience. You can activate positive self-talk and mindset techniques and sustain confidence through improving your mental and physical skills. So make sure you come and get that. I'm actually turning that very shortly into a masterclass, so you'll enjoy it even more. So keep your eye out for that one. But make sure you come and get your 3 steps to building your self-confidence. Love to see you there. And for now, I want you to dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams. Take care. Talk soon. Bye for now.